Hey YouTube fans, today we're going to look at installing this Glacier Bay laundry sink and cabinet in one. So this is kind of an all-in-one piece that we picked up at Home Depot, $209. We're going to look at some of the installation steps, some of the pros and cons. I've already got it unboxed and up in the laundry room, so let's pop up there and have a look. So here we are in the laundry room. Just kind of want to show you what I'm working with here. I've got it pre-plumbed already. This is where we used to have a more industrial type sink here. And here's the cabinet. The cabinet itself comes pre-assembled. The sink is loose, but we'll get that installed at some point. And then we've got all the pieces and parts here. Got the P-trap, got the faucet, even have connection lines. I got the drain, and let's see here, let's see what the inside of the cabinet looks like. So great amount of storage, and that's really one of the main reasons we bought this, was for the storage. All right, so I've got the cabinet kind of in position, kind of taking a survey of what I'm going to have to do here. And I want this thing to go flush against the wall. So the first thing I notice is my baseboards. I'm going to have to cut these baseboards. Cut those out, take a section of baseboard out in order for this to get all the way flush against the wall. Another problem I see, and we'll have to look inside the cabinet. Come around here and open the doors. As you can see, there's no place here for my water service lines to come through. So that's my other problem. I'm gonna have to cut some holes here to get those connected. So two problems right off the bat. It's going to require a little drilling, turning the water off, cutting some baseboards. So here we are. I think the very first step is to take these valves off so I don't have to cut such a huge hole in the bottom of my cabinet. See, if I take these off, I just have this pipe and I'll be able to cut a much smaller hole going through the bottom of my cabinet. So wherever your water shut-off valve is, it might be at your meter, it might be in your house, under your house, in your basement. Shut that off and then let some pressure off of the lines. You know, an outside faucet, flush the toilet a few times, let the water pressure off. And so the next thing I'll do is take these valves off. I've got the valves off my source lines now, and I just wanted to show you the size hole I'm going to go with. You know, just kind of eyeball this. I don't want to cut it the exact size. If I do that, that really gives me no tolerance, no room to play. So I'm going to make some pretty decent measurements and then start drilling the inside of my cabinet so my cabinet will set down over the tops of these source lines. So I wanted to show you how to get the cabinet right in the center of where we need it. This cabinet is 26 inches wide, so I want to get my pipe at about 13 inches. And so we can also do the same. If we come back out here, we can see that the drain is about 13 inches center. So just to give you an idea of how to center your cabinet near your drain, this would be a good way to do it. Measure the width of the inside of your cabinet and then half that and line it up with your drain. Well, this is kind of a tough shot to get, but I wanted you to see the pipe is about 3 1/3 to center away from the wall. So if our cabinet is going to be flush against the wall, I have to measure inside my cabinet and mark 3 1/3 inside the cabinet, which I've already done that here. So this is where I'm going to cut holes. I'm going to cut holes here and here. And you'll have to do the same thing to measure from the outside of your cabinet over, figure out where the pipe lines up in order to create this line going this way. Same thing here, measure from this side and line that up with your pipe. So the hole saw made pretty handy work of this particle board cabinetry. It was pretty easy to drill through. So the next thing I'll do is set my cabinet up and over the water source lines, and then that'll give me a place to mark on my baseboards where I need to cut them. I've lifted my cabinet up and over the water source lines. As you can see, they're a little short, but I'll show you why. That's because I've got the cabinet sitting on top of the baseboard. And the reason I did this, so it will be exact. I can put a little mark here, and then also over on this other side, I can get back in there and make a little mark, and then all I have to do is move the cabinet and cut the baseboard. So I took a square, and from my mark, I got in here and made me a line that's very perpendicular using my square. And next I'll use my oscillating saw. These things are so awesome. I don't know what my life was like before, but at any rate, I'll cut away to that, no pun intended, and I'll get this point here and this point here cut, and then I'm going to take out this middle section of baseboard. As you can see, the oscillating tool cuts a really great straight line in the baseboard. So all I have to do now is get a pry bar of some sort and pry my trim loose here, and I'll be good to go. Okay, so we got the baseboards cut back here. We got the cabinet set in place. So now we're going to start working on hooking everything up. Obviously, we've got to hook up the drain. I got to hook up the P-trap. I got to hook up the service lines. So the next step is going to be putting these valves back on. A little detail I wanted to show you before you connect all these things. It's a good idea to put some plumber's tape on that. So you just wrap those around the threads. And that's just a little added protection against leaks. So I'm going to do that now. So I got the valves back on. And as you can see, it's really close here. It's going to work. Barely does clear. So anyway, just something to be aware of. You remember this cabinet has feet, so it's going to increase the height that your pipes need to be. Mine worked out okay, but I can see some installations you might have to go as far as to add an extension. So next thing we're going to do, we're done with that. We're going to look at we're going to go back up here to the top and silicone our sink down, and once that's done, we're going to start looking at some of these pieces. We're going to put the P-trap in, the drain, and as you can see, it comes with some pretty decent instructions, so I don't think that's going to be that difficult. But right now, I'm going to go back with my silicone here and put a bead of silicone around the entire edge of my sink and get that set into place. Let's look at installing the drain now. Typically, I would use plumber's putty, and I would create a seal around here before setting that into my sink. But I noticed on here that says do not use on plastic. So this sink is plastic, fiberglass, something of that nature. So I don't want to do that. I'm going to use silicone. I'm going to put a little bead of silicone in there on there before I set that down into the sink. So once I have that set, I'm going to come back down here, and there's three pieces to sealing this up. There's a rubber seal, a paper seal, and then this is our lock slip nut. And as you can see, it has a profile to it, and this would seat right up against the bottom of the drain. So once that's connected to the bottom of the drain, I'll be able to connect my tailpiece and complete the drain. I've got the drain in place. I've got the lock nut on it. So really all that's left to do is connect this tailpiece to my drain, and then I'm in business. We got our drain in, and we come to the underside. You can see I got the big lock nut on there that holds that in. The next piece we want to attach, and you can kind of see how things are laying out here. There's our drain pipe. It's going to connect to this pipe, go through our P-trap, and then this is the next piece we want to connect. This is our tailpipe. So as you can see, it's got a little rubber gasket in there, and it's going to go right up here, and we're going to screw that on. So I'll cut away to that and get that connected. So we've got our tailpiece installed. Now we're ready to connect the P-trap, and I just kind of wanted to show you some of the pieces it does and does not come with. It comes with this slip nut, this gasket, the P, and then this slip nut here. What it does not come with is the slip nut that you're going to need to connect it to the drain. So you're going to have to buy this 1.5 inch slip nut and washer. So you're going to have to buy that extra to actually get the final connection made to the drain. So as it turns out, this tailpiece was too short. As you can see, it's not making the connection. So I had to make a special trip to Home Depot to get a 6-inch. So once I get that connected, that should solve my problem. I can move ahead. Well, we had to make a special trip to Home Depot to get this 6-inch tailpiece to fix that. And then only to get back, got the faucet installed here. Only to get back and to figure out that these lines are these service lines are incredibly too short. I mean, this is the kind of stuff that really, really aggravates me. I mean, they could not have made it just a little bit longer. I mean, they did not plan at all to accommodate anything other than being exact. So anyway, had to go back another trip, had to get these extension lines. Show you what I got here. These are 3/8 inch and 20 inch. It's a 3/8 inch diameter and 20 inch length. So I'll just get those connected as my extensions, and hopefully we're gonna have water real soon. All right, fans, we've got everything hooked up. Everything's working. Just want to give you a quick 1-minute overview of this sink. I like the design of it. I thought the instructions that came with it were pretty poor. They could have put a little more time and energy into the instructions. Design-wise, I like the look of it. There's probably a little bit of problem with the amount of pitch that's in this shelf and also in the sink. It drains, but it drains really slow. This faucet has a reducer in it, so not great on normal setting. Pretty good on spray setting. It comes with a stopper there, and the cabinet itself is okay. A lot of storage. So overall, I'm pretty pleased with it. It took a little bit longer than you would think to install it. You know, it's kind of sold as a out of the box plug and play thing, but it did take a good bit of work to put it in. So hope you enjoyed this video, and I appreciate some comments and shares and likes and all those good things, and hopefully it was helpful to you. Take care.